This assembly will come to order. Please remain standing for the invocation, which will be delivered by the college chaplain, the Reverend Jeffrey McArn.
Let us be together in prayer. Eternal One, in whom we live and move and have our being, we in this community which values knowledge, we worship you, God of wisdom. As we have labored through our courses and labs and that endless stream of papers to write and exams to take, we have been searching for wisdom, but wisdom seems to escape our grasp. And even though we have learned widely in the classroom and outside the classroom, we acknowledge that we leave this beloved campus searching still for what is true and what is beautiful and what is wise. God, you who are our teacher, teach us to be patient in our search for wisdom. Encourage us never to stop searching and questioning and employing critical thinking as we continue on from Hamilton. Teach us again and again the humble lesson that the more we know, the more we realize how much we don't know. We in this place have long been waiting for this great and glorious day. Today we celebrate and lift up these graduates. They are precious and honored in your eyes and in ours, and we love them. Keep them in your care as they walk across this platform and also as they walk away from this campus to begin again. This we pray from the heart. Amen.
We will now sing America the Beautiful, the words to which are printed in your program. It is now my honor to introduce the 18th president of Hamilton College, Eugene M. Tobin.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to commencement. Rain or shine, indoors or outside, this is a splendid day, a day of celebration, a joyous, precious, truly memorable occasion when we pay tribute to our graduating seniors their families and friends, when we honor the singular achievements of our honorary degree recipients, when we acknowledge the dedication and commitment of our faculty and staff, and when we bid goodbye and good luck to the members of the class of 1997. The late American historian Richard Hofstadter once wrote that if history is the thread of public identity, then memory is the thread of personal identity. Remember what you see and feel this morning, because nothing gives more meaning to life than our memories. Every senior who walks across the stage will have two very strong sets of memories. The first will be of family, the memories of your parents' love, affection, and personal sacrifice that has brought you to this point in your life. Because graduation is a special family occasion, I would ask all of our parents and grandparents, siblings, and friends to rise and receive the gratitude and appreciation of everyone here today. The second set of memories our graduates will carry with them represents the knowledge and wisdom provided by their professors and the friendship and respect earned during the past 4 years. Hamilton has one of the most committed and distinguished liberal arts faculties in the country, and I would ask my colleagues on the faculty to please stand and receive the appreciation of all of us. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Kevin W. Kennedy, member of the class of 1970, who brings greetings on behalf of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Gene. On behalf of the trustees of Hamilton College, I offer our welcome and congratulations to parents, grandparents, siblings, relatives and friends, and most importantly, to the class of 1997. In a few minutes, the class of 1997 will lose its undergraduate status and will swell Hamilton's alumni body to over 12,000 members. I'm pleased to announce that the Senior Gift campaign, led by Stacy Hanna, has achieved 95.5% participation and raised over $11,000 for current scholarships. That's a great achievement for a group whose original target was 69%, and we thank you. Thank you very much. Now, in a few minutes from now, the rest of your lives await you in the larger world beyond this hill, and you should be thrilled by the prospects. Wherever you go and whatever you do, Hamilton will go with you. Mark Lilienthal said it eloquently in The Spectator recently, and I'm quoting him, "When September arrives, I will certainly feel confused. No school? Should I not be going back to some place? My befuddlement will subside, however, because my mind cannot be erased by time or distance. The friendships will thrive across oceans, deserts, and mountains. Professors will respond to my letters. Former students will bump into me. The phone will ring. The college will ask me for money. I will never escape the serene and sticky web of Hamilton College, thank God." Well said, Mark. We're proud of you, and we will enjoy your successes, both great and small, class of 97. Congratulations and good luck. Return often, and remember Hamilton always. Godspeed. It's now my pleasure to introduce Sarah Pia Shapiro, who brings greetings from the class of 1997.
Good morning and welcome. I can't tell you what an honor it is to stand on this platform in front of thousands of people. As I look into the audience, I see so many familiar faces. I see the faces of our faculty, the faces of our administrators, the faces of our trustees, the faces of my fellow classmates, and most importantly, the faces of our families. We are here today to celebrate the tremendous accomplishments of 400 and something graduating students of the class of 1997. As I stand here awestruck in front of an immense crowd, I can't help but think back to other memorable days of my very short 22 years of age. In the Shapiro family, on special occasions like today, my father is well known to say 4 very simple but intimidating words to me: the pursuit of excellence. Whether it was the day of my bat mitzvah at the age of 13, or the day of my high school graduation, or the day my parents dropped me off on orientation day at Hamilton. I looked scared and nervous, and he would gently pull me aside, look me straight in the eye, and say, "Sarah, remember the pursuit of excellence." For a very long time, my father's favorite words and the idea of them seemed out of my reach, unattainable. But over the last 4 years, I have realized that my real pursuit of excellence began at Hamilton. You see, Hamilton gives us the foundation, lays the groundwork for each and every one of us so that we could pursue our own pursuit of excellence. As we gave Hamilton parts of ourselves in the classrooms, on the athletic fields, or for any of the student organizations on this campus, Hamilton, in return, gave us a firm and strong foundation to work from. And this foundation is the key to our success in the pursuit of excellence beyond Hamilton College. So as we walk out the doors of this field house in a very short while, with our diplomas in our left hands and our canes in our right hands, we should walk with great confidence and great pride, because Hamilton has given us everything we need to continue the pursuit of excellence and to someday attain the highest level of excellence in our lives. On behalf of the graduating student body of Hamilton College, I welcome all of our guests to the commencement ceremony of the class of 1997.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I now call upon the Associate Dean of the Faculty, David C. Paris, for the presentation of special awards and honors.
Good morning. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to begin by calling your attention to the names of seniors who have been awarded concentration honors by their departments. That list is to be found in the program just following the list of the degree candidates. Concentration honors are awarded to those students that have achieved distinguished levels of work and are so recognized by the teachers in their disciplines. They deserve your applause. I also call to your attention the list of fellowships and prize scholarships on the next 2 pages. Most of these were awarded about 2 weeks ago at Class and Charter Day to underclassmen. This list now carries the names of other prizes which have been determined since then. It is also my honor to present to you 3 students to whom we will make special awards today. Their stories overlap in many ways, but the common thread among them is the incredible dedication and plain hard work they bring to whatever they do. First, the salutatorian for the class of 1997 is Jason Scott Kingsbury. Jason majored in chemistry, which means he spent numerous hours in labs developing his skills working with equipment and materials. Assistant Professor of Biology Susan Morgan describes one of his noteworthy skills, the ability to shoot Eppendorf pipette tips through the air into the wastebasket 15 feet away with unfailing accuracy. He challenges Senator Bradley. A fellow student describes a more productive use of materials at hand as Jason tutored her at the Quantitative Literacy Center. He took the elastic band in her coat as the basis for a demonstration of a problem in springs and energy in physics. The demonstration and tutorial took nearly 90 minutes, leading the student to truly understand the problem and to write to the director of the center, "You should be proud to have him on your staff." Jason has brought this kind of dedication to his other academic and co-curricular pursuits. He has excelled in a wide range of courses, including studio arts and French. Outside the classroom, he played on the soccer team for 4 years, most recently as captain. Of course, his work in chemistry has been his primary academic focus. He has won every chemistry prize since his first year here, including the Norton and Bennett Prizes, the Bowman, Dane, and Marsh Prize scholarships. Child's professor of chemistry, Robin Kimmel, writes that, quote, "He brings to his science courses a consuming curiosity that is both intellectual and applied in the laboratory, and brings to his work a rare depth of perspective that makes him confident yet humble." Beyond his work with pipette tips, he has particularly studied immunochemistry, working with creatures as diverse as horseshoe crabs, sponges, and marine algae. His goal, Professor Kinnell writes, is to apply synthetic chemistry to the real-world applications of diagnosis and the treatment of human diseases. In order to pursue this goal, Jason has decided, after turning down offers from Yale and Caltech, to do graduate work at Boston College. We wish him well there. Please join me in congratulating the salutatorian of the class of 1997, Jason Scott Kingsbury. Next, the valedictorian of the class of 1997 is Hamid Batabai Oskan. Batabai, as we know him, continues a long tradition of outstanding students who come to us from Roberts College in Turkey. While visiting Istanbul last year, Professor Emeritus of Economics Sidney Werdemer informed the headmaster there of Batabai's renown here as a top student. The headmaster expressed some mild surprise. Batabai was clearly one of the top political leaders on campus, but not at the top of his class academically. Upon his return, Professor Werdemer, his curiosity piqued, asked Batabai what exactly had turned him around when he came to Hamilton. Batabai, quote, said that beside an initial diffidence with the language, he knew no one yet, and so there was little else to do but study, which he found interesting, so he kept it up. Indeed. The first semester of 3 A's and an A+, including a course in English as a second language, was followed by 2 successive semesters of straight A+. Astronomy, Introduction to Dance, Comparative Politics, Introduction to Sociology, advanced courses in his major economics and his minor mathematics, all A+. He slacked off a bit in his 3rd and 4th years, getting only a mix of A's and A+. Perhaps this academic slump can be attributed to the long lunch sessions he had with other foreign students and Derek Jones, professor of economics, who writes that Badabai holds strong opinions and argues them forcefully. He is quite a patriot and nationalist, and our many arguments would range far and wide. At the same time, Professor of Economics and Associate Dean of Students James Bradfield notes that though he's a hard-driving student and a willing debater, Badabai is also well-mannered, even courtly, ready to smile. I myself saw some of this on Friday at the graduation walkthrough and again this morning when Badabai patiently coached me through the pronunciation of his name. Badabai has been always ready to meet every academic challenge. In response to a throwaway remark from Professor Jones about the inapplicability of a certain macroeconomic model to the case of Turkey, Badabai promptly developed just that application and impressed Professor Jones. Economists are not the wagering type, but most of them have said to me that they bet we will see him as a leader in his country. As Jones puts it, he will go far. President Tobin and the faculty are committed to making Hamilton a place widely known for intellectual engagement, intensity, and excellence. You will find no better example of this than our valedictorian. Please join me in congratulating the valedictorian of the class of 1997, Hamid Batabai Özkan. You have already met our winner of the James Soper Merrill Prize, Sarah Pia Shapiro. It will not surprise you, given her eloquence, that she's a communications studies major and theater minor. Like our other awards winner, Sarah is an outstanding student. She's made Dean's List every semester, was a finalist and winner of McKinney and Wright Public Speaking Prizes, a Leavitt Scholar, and is graduating Phi Beta Kappa. A tongue-in-cheek appraisal of this combination of theater and communication studies is offered by Professor of Theater Adrian Georgia, who says that though a brilliant student, she's never allowed herself to be seen by a theater person carrying a book. Rather, she's had her nose buried in magazines during production breaks. Professor Georgia's jest needs to be put in the context of Sarah's seriousness as a student of communications and culture. Her senior thesis was on television as a forum for the presentation of self in American life. As Assistant Professor of Rhetoric and Communications Susan Ross points out, the thesis necessarily combined readings from disciplines as varied as sociology, political science, mass communications, and linguistics. Translation, she read a lot. Professor Ross goes on to say that Sarah has an ability to address issues intelligently and sincerely, with no pretense or need to be dramatic, in a way that bespeaks an authentic intellectual curiosity. Beyond the classroom, Sarah has invested herself heavily in the Hamilton community. She has served as an admissions intern and been active in a number of co-curricular organizations. But her major role this year has been as the student chair of the Judicial Board. As Director of Residential Life, Rebecca Reed Kantrowitz writes, "I cannot think of any other student on this campus who has the very difficult task of not only upholding college policy, but educating and truly helping students to understand both the responsibilities and benefits of living in a residential community." And she has performed this task admirably. She conducted over 50 administrative hearings this year and is widely respected by both students and faculty for being diplomatic, firm, honest, clear, and compassionate. As Director Kantrowitz puts it, it is clear that she values Hamilton, the importance of being a dedicated student, the honor code, truthfulness, and respect. In her role, she has been truly making a significant difference each and every day in the lives of our students. As the award indicates, Sarah's combination of academic excellence and community service embodies the ideals of the college, and as Professor Ross puts it, we'll be sorry to see her go. Please join me in congratulating the James Soper Merrill Prize winner for 1997, Sarah Pia Shapiro.
It is our custom now to honor certain other individuals who, through their life's work and experience, exemplify the values to which we know and are assured the members of the class of 1997 will aspire. The individuals upon whom we bestow honorary degrees today have brought credit to this nation, and we take great pride in recognizing their achievements. I call upon Susan Valentine, trustee, to present a candidate for an honorary degree.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present Bill Bradley for the degree of Doctor of Laws.
Almost 3 decades ago, when you were a 24-year-old small forward with the New York Knickerbockers, Life magazine called you a stubborn idealist. As we look back over your impressive career, from scholar-athlete to United States Senator, the description appears to have been, in a most positive sense, apt. Missouri born and bred, you were a standout high school athlete whose talents were coveted by countless colleges and universities. You decided upon Princeton University for the sake of a rigorous education. Through discipline, repetition, and hard work, you became a basketball player of the first magnitude, and at the same time, a national role model of the student athlete. On the court, you moved gracefully and perpetually without the ball. You found the open man, played tenacious defense, and made jump shots and free throws in pressure situations. But most importantly, you appreciated the challenge of competition, the camaraderie of team play, and the privilege of sharing a special experience of time and place. Some athletes do not remember such a moment. A few have never felt it. But you have captured it in prose and used it as a lesson for life. Graduating with honors in history, you deferred a plunge into pro basketball in order to study at Oxford as a Rhodes Scholar. 10 years with the New York Knicks ensued, during which you helped lead them to 2 NBA titles. Characteristically reflective, you were prompted to write Life on the Run, an account of your experiences as a professional athlete. In it, you lamented your isolation from the rest of the world, saying, "To me, every day is a struggle to stay in touch with life's subtleties." Nowhere was this more evident than in your appreciation of diversity and in the friendships you made among your teammates that cut across race and region and have endured across the decades. You soon left the athletic arena for the political, gaining election from New Jersey in 1978 to the first of 3 terms in the United States Senate. During those 18 years, you earned recognition as having one of the keenest minds in the chamber and as a statesman of national stature. However, you found the high visibility of public office as isolating as big-time athletics, and you became increasingly frustrated with a political world in which character, humanity, and privacy seemed to be endangered, devalued, and denied. Last January, you left the Senate to regain your personal freedom and the opportunity to speak out and call it as you see it. You pledged not to leave public life, but instead, through teaching and serving in the nonprofit sector, to pursue your labors for the things you hold dear, such as civic responsibility and social improvement. By bringing your stubborn idealism to bear on national problems, while at the same time staying in touch with life's subtleties, you will, we are confident, continue to serve our nation faithfully and well. Bill Bradley, acting on the authority of the Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to confer on you the degree of Doctor of Laws of Hamilton College, admitting you to all its rights and privileges, in token whereof we present you with this diploma and invest you with this hood. Thank you, Senator. Congratulations. Thank you. I call upon Joseph F. Anderson and George F. Little II, trustees, to present a candidate for an honorary degree.
Mr. President, we have the honor to present Daniel Cuthbert Ferguson for the degree Doctor of Laws.
Daniel C. Ferguson. At a time of national concern over manufacturers departing our shores and an apparent inability of American industry to compete with foreign imports, the example set by the Newell Company of Freeport, Illinois, should prove reassuring. Beginning in 1903 as a family-owned business, supplying drapery rods for sale in 5 and dime stores, it has grown into a major conglomerate and leading manufacturer and marketer of hardware, housewares, and office products. Most of that phenomenal growth came under your stewardship and reflected your entrepreneurial vision and rapid response to market trends. A Hamilton graduate, class of 1948, you went to work for Newell after obtaining your MBA from Stanford in 1950. There you worked with your father, Leonard C. Ferguson, Hamilton class of 1919, one of the principals of the company until his retirement. Becoming president and CEO in 1966, you brought to the job the same competitive instincts and determination that led you, as co-captain of Hamilton's basketball team, to take that one last desperate shot. With the Continentals down 52-51 and seconds to go in the game, the ball bounced off the backboard and through the net to make it 53-52, Hamilton over arch-rival Union, and you were carried out on your teammates' shoulders as fans cheered wildly. Your subsequent business career was perhaps not quite that dramatic, but over time you performed with equal effectiveness. You took a company with $14 million in sales and turned it into an enterprise of $2 billion or more. Just when the new giant merchandisers such as Kmart and Walmart were coming on the scene, you recognized them as your new customer base. With patience and persistence, you acquired more than 30 small companies manufacturing everything from paintbrushes to aluminum pots, and you streamlined and integrated them. By investing heavily in machinery and equipment and modernizing production, you reduced manufacturing costs. You also reduced distribution costs by high-tech means. Distribution and customer service became Newell hallmarks, contributing greatly to attaining its position as a central supplier to today's mass retail market. As chairman of Newell's board since 1992, you have now left the day-to-day running of the company to others. But your impressive legacy remains an outstanding example of American entrepreneurial ingenuity and success. You brought each of those qualities to your distinguished service on this college's Board of Trustees. Daniel C. Ferguson, acting on the authority of the Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to confer on you the degree of Doctor of Laws of Hamilton College, admitting you to all its rights and privileges, in token whereof we present you with this diploma and invest you with this hood. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for everything. I call upon Jean DaCosta, Leavenworth Professor of English, to present a candidate for an honorary degree.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present to you Albert L. Murray as a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Letters.
Albert Murray, Duke Ellington once described you as an authority on soul from the days of old, adding, he doesn't have to look it up. You have also been called a visionary in the grand manner and a maverick intellectual in the tradition of Emerson and Thoreau. A novelist, music critic, and cultural analyst, you are, above all, an old-fashioned humanist with no patience for racism or separatism. You grew up in Magazine Point on the outskirts of Mobile and found your way to Tuskegee Institute. There you were nurtured on the works of such contemporary literary giants as Faulkner, Hemingway, and Mann. Among your most influential teachers, we take great pride in saying, was a graduate of this college, Mortiza Drexel Sprague, Hamilton class of 1929, who chaired Tuskegee's English department and was for many years the Institute's librarian. There you also furthered a lifelong passion for blues and jazz and the music of Ellington and Count Basie, whose autobiography years later you would importantly fashion. After teaching at Tuskegee yourself and serving in the armed forces, you settled in Harlem and put your voice to pen, surveying the American cultural landscape. In The Omni-Americans, published in 1970, you celebrated what you prefer to call the Negro tradition and achievement as integral to and a vibrant part of the American experience. In Stomping the Blues, published in 1976, you wrote of the centrality to that experience of blues and jazz in what has been called the most eloquent book ever written on African American music. Through those and numerous other works, transcending ethnicity and going against the fashionable grain, you lifted intellectual history to an entirely new plane. Besides grasping the essence of jazz from the folk level to fine art, you have contributed to its advancement by helping create the Jazz at Lincoln Center series. In addition, you have become a kind of godfather to young intellectuals and artists such as Stanley Crouch and Wynton Marsalis. A teacher by temperament and with great independence of mind and conviction, you have belatedly but undeniably achieved recognition as one of the most influential observers of our cultural scene. Your recent election to the American Academy of Arts and Letters bears witness to your national stature and to your lifetime achievement. Albert Murray, acting on the authority of the Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to confer on you the degree of Doctor of Letters of Hamilton College, admitting you to all its rights and privileges, in token whereof we present you with this diploma and invest you with this hood. Thank you, Mr. Murray. Thank you so much. I call upon Milton F. Phileas, Jr., trustee, to present a candidate for an honorary degree.
Mr. President, I am honored to present Marion McPartland for the degree of Honorary Doctor of Music.
Marion McPartland. With justice, you are called the First Lady of Jazz. In earning that high accolade among audiences and your fellow musicians alike, you have, to borrow a familiar phrase, come a long way. Yours has been a story of astonishing success in the predominantly male jazz world, not only as a woman, but as an English woman at that. And to borrow another very familiar phrase, you did it your way. As a pianist and composer, you struck out on your own to play the field, including the outer reaches of progressive jazz. Through almost 50 years of performing, you have treated your audiences to an astonishingly varied repertoire, lending to it all of your uniquely captivating sound and forceful but delicate style. With bold intelligence and sheer inventiveness, you have perfected in your playing both sophisticated elegance and remarkable technique. You have also dedicated yourself to promoting young talent and crusading to bring jazz to new generations. In workshops and clinics from the kindergartens of inner cities to college and university campuses, you have spread the gospel by swinging along with the new kids on the block. The art of jazz is above all one of communication, and in the clubs and classrooms, you communicate clearly and intimately and with consummate taste and talent like no other musician of our time. Marion McPartland, acting on the authority of the Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to confer on you the degree of Doctor of Music of Hamilton College, admitting you to all its rights and privileges, in token whereof we present you with this diploma and invest you with this hood. Congratulations, Marion. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
President Kennedy once said that a nation reveals itself not only by the people it produces, but also by the men and women it chooses to honor. Few individuals in public life possess the courage, credibility, and wisdom to challenge the American people to think constructively about two of the most serious problems facing our country: the divisions created by race and class. Few leaders have helped us as much as this morning's speaker to understand that America's accomplishments must not only be measured by our military and economic strength, but by our national spirit and humanity. Not only by our political beliefs, but by our insight, and not only by our national self-esteem, but by our national compassion. The ultimate challenge to a citizen of democracy, Senator Bradley has observed, is to ask yourself what you owe another human being. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Hamilton's 1997 commencement speaker, the Honorable Bill Bradley.
President Tobin, honorary degree recipients, parents, faculty, Ben, distinguished guests, members of the class of 1997, I need to continue my acknowledgments by calling upon the work of Gary Trudeau and recognizing the members of the Board of Trustees, board members of the trustees, those who watch ER, those who watch Sports Center, those who still watch Seinfeld, those who don't like TV, denizens of Clinton, denizens of the night, knights of Oneida County, people of class, classy people, people of height, the vertically constrained, people of hair, the differently coiffed, the optically challenged, the temporarily sighted, the insightful, the out of sight, the out-of-towners, the Afrocentrics, the Eurocentrics, the Eurocentrics with Eurail passes, the eccentrically inclined, the sexually disinclined, people of sex, sexy people, earthy people, animal companions, friends of the earth, friends of the boss, the temporarily employed, the differently employed, the differently optioned, people with options, people with stock options, Knick fans, Celtic fans, those who don't have the wisdom to be either Knick or Celtic fans, the divestiturists, the deconstructionists, the home constructionists, the homeless, the temporarily housed at home, and God save us parents, the permanently housed at home. Good morning. For many years, when I would speak at graduations, I identified with the graduates, usually quoting the lyrics of some current hit song so that the students would understand which side of the generation divide that I was on. These days, I identify with the parents who still think of you soon-to-be graduates as 5-year-old terrors on family vacations or wide-eyed 9-year-olds at the breakfast table, and who today are full of a jumble of emotions, these parents: pride, relief, a sense of loss, a growing belief that maybe, just maybe, all the money was worth it. For most of you, Hamilton College will never produce anything more tangible than your diploma or your friends. But I bet most of you will never forget your friends. Just like you'll never forget the quiet beauty of the Mohawk Valley. Then there are the intangibles of your university experience, the pressures you've coped with, the mistakes you've overcome, the things you've learned about yourselves, the big questions that were posed for you for the first time here, the big questions that remain unanswered. I've always believed that the message of America is that if you work hard, you can get ahead economically. If you get involved, you can change things politically. If you reason patiently enough, you can extend equality to all races and both genders. Today, many Americans doubt these basic precepts. In the information economy, 4 computer workstations replace 300 people in the credit department, no matter how hard they work. In our political dialogue, money drowns out the voices of the people. And in our social interactions, few risk candor to create racial harmony. With the economy, the irony is that the forces which will make us all better off in the long run endanger us, many of us, in the short run. The heavy footsteps of relocation, part-time jobs, temp jobs, middle age without retirement, middle age without health care, retirement without a pension, have made their way to the doorsteps of too many American families. Millions of Americans no longer look to the single workplace of the family's main breadwinner as the site where their standard of living will improve. Wages have been stagnant for too long. Too many good jobs have disappeared. Too many expectations have been shattered. As we move into this information age, we need approaches of breadth and innovation to assure the American dream for all of our people. They start, I think, with the reinvigoration of public power, our power, the power all of us possess collectively. For nearly 20 years, what most people have missed is that while government can be distant and ineffective, public power can speak to where people live their lives. Public power often means preventing the ethos of the market from dominating other equally important ethics: democratic, environmental, human, spiritual. Public power can never replace the memories, places, stories of these other ethics, but it can prevent the cacophony of modern life from drowning out their voices. It must always be a balancing force so that life can be whole and market economic forces, while giving us the lowest possible prices and the highest quality, do not control our beings or destroy our humanity. Take, for example, America's public lands. The 1/3 of the land mass of America that's owned by the federal government. It belongs to all of us. It's our patrimony. The miners, ranchers, loggers, and corporate farmers of irrigated land do not own it. From the beautiful Red Rock wilderness of Utah to the Olympic Peninsula of Washington or the majestic peaks of the Brooks Range in Alaska, there are places that mankind has not yet altered. They are as they have been for thousands of years. And if we want our children to experience them in their pristine form, we must, as the Iroquois did, think of the effect of our actions 7 generations ahead. The only way to prohibit the natural resource industries from forcing the timeless expanses of wilderness to fit a calendar of quarterly earnings is for public power to say simply no, acting on behalf of all of us and for generations to come. In addition, public power, balancing private power, can ensure that if you lose your job, you still keep your paid health care for a while. If you have a pension, it would be portable, and that educational opportunity will exist for a lifetime. Lifetime education. Albert Einstein, when he came to the United States, taught at Princeton, and he was once administering a physics exam. So he passed the exam out, and a student ran up to him and said, Professor Einstein, the questions on this year's exam are the same as the questions on last year's exam. To which Einstein paused and said, that's okay. This year the answers are different. In the information age, the answers are going to be different every year. And unless you view, class of '97, education as a lifetime endeavor, and unless public power ensures that it's affordable, you're not going to be able to come up with those answers. Well, I hope all of you have taken advantage of this college's wonderful facilities and learned all about history and science, technology, and writing. But in addition to honing your intellect, I hope you've developed the capacity to see, to feel, and to give. To see beyond your immediate task to the larger world around you, to see the interrelatedness of life, to see that dichotomies between urban, suburban, Asian, Latino, Hindus, Christians, liberals, conservatives pale in comparison to our common humanity. To see that hatred is a self-indulgence that you cannot afford and that America cannot afford. I also hope that you've learned to feel a neighbor's pain and suffering as well as her joy, to feel a family member's love and to return it in full measure, to feel your own strengths and weaknesses, and from that knowledge face the future with clarity. Finally, I hope you've developed the capacity and the inclination to give without expectation of getting something in return. This last hope is fundamentally spiritual. The Librarian of Congress, James Billington, has written, "We are a fallible species on a fragile planet, living at the intersection between the natural and the supernatural, forever seeking mastery, yet always confronting mystery. In such a situation, we need all the guidebooks that we can get. That's why having true convictions doesn't require you to be a true believer, and why remaining open to learn from another person's truth expands your own horizons. As Diane Eck has written, God really encounters us in the lives of people of other faiths. For instance, I think of Gandhi's example of a love that puts one's life on the line for justice because one sees both justice and love are inseparable, one being simply the social manifestation of the other. A moral compass and a guiding set of convictions is even more crucial for your generation in this class of '97 that confronts this rapid technological transformation. There's a great deal of talk these days about the wonders of the internet, the digital revolution, the gigantic productivity bonuses that will bring us even greater wealth. And it is true that in times past, national wealth rested on natural resources, abundance of labor, and capital. But now more and more it rests on knowledge. And capital follows knowledge. If you doubt the global nature of this phenomenon or the generational gap that exists in understanding its potential, let me tell you a story. I have a friend named Chidambaram. Until recently, he was the finance minister of India. And in his last campaign, he was out campaigning in a small village in north-central India, and just like you campaign in American politics. And he went into a little tea shop. And he was served by, obviously, the son of the proprietor. And he began to make conversation, and he said to him, "Well, what do you want to be, son?" And the boy shot back, "What do I want to be?" He says, "Well, I'm going to study computers so that I can be like the richest man in the world, Billy Gates." In other words, the information revolution had leapt out from Microsoft in Seattle and touched the imagination of this young boy in a little tea shop in rural India. Its reach is global and transforming. And that means, as Lincoln once said, as our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew. In such a global knowledge economy, driven by the genius of the young, power is no longer hierarchical, it shifts down to the knowledge worker. In turn, the knowledge workers, even those that are or will become those in this class of '97, those who write the software programs, design the hardware, anticipate the new linkages of information networks, these knowledge workers have enormous opportunity to affect change. But how do you use this power? Well, that depends on your values. At another time in American history, Thoreau once said about the telegraph, "It's an improved means to an unimproved end." The same is true for the internet. If we simply use the internet to talk with people who reinforce our already well-formed views, how will we learn from those who believe differently than we do? How will we find common ground? How will we all be better off? On the other hand, if the brightest talent recoils from working for a corporation that pollutes, or one that remains unappreciative of diversity, or mistreats its laid-off employees, then the corporation will suffer because it won't be able to attract the knowledge, talent it needs to generate the profits it needs, to attract the capital it needs for its growth. In other words, the market can work in a lot of directions, and today you can champion diversity and a vibrant economy and environmental security and win. But in America, a burgeoning information economy exists alongside seemingly intractable social problems beyond the reach of knowledge workers. These problems are going to take personal contact to solve. The internet can't mentor a kid, serve as a surrogate parent, read to the elderly, nurse the sick, transport the disabled, start a dance troupe, a computer class, a little league, or a poetry reading group. These are needs that are only going to be met by another person in someone's life. Nor will these problems be solved by simply investing more money in the information superhighway or in job retraining. Putting a computer in every classroom is meaningless if the student can't read and write and the teachers don't realize that information is not knowledge and knowledge is not culture. Technology alone will never solve these human problems. Only people will. Even the internet itself will depend increasingly on trust. The challenge for our society is going to be figuring out how to take this vast productivity bonus that is coming and use it to deal with our social problems at the same time we give initiative its reward and keep the economy growing. Is that possible? Remains to be seen. Is it advisable? I think so. To find some way to infuse a part of the productivity bonus into the institutions of our civil culture, the churches, PTAs, community development corporations, so that people of integrity can do more of what they're doing now is certainly a challenge worthy of the class of 1997. But to do well economically at the same time you do good socially, you at least part of the time have to think of what is good for the whole country as well as what is good for yourself. As the political philosopher has written, individual rights are a protection from society, but only by fulfilling obligations to society can an individual give meaning to that protection. For many Americans, that obligation constitutes the deeper purpose to their lives. Finally, the challenge is for each of you to appreciate your own individuality. One of my favorite stories is The Death of Ivan Ilyich by Tolstoy. It's a story of a mid-level bureaucrat in Tsarist Russia. He's lying on his deathbed, recalling his life, his friends, his passion, his work, his failures, what he did, what he didn't do, his understanding of life. And as he ruminates, he becomes bitter. Finally, he wonders whether his whole life has been led in vain, and all things that all the highest placed and highest admired people felt were most important have been false. And whether his scarcely noticeable impulses, those are Tolstoy's words, those which he, again, immediately suppressed, have been true, and all else false. To transform America, or even that part of America which is your own life, takes the strength to follow these scarcely noticeable impulses, those which sometimes take you far from the crowd, which are truest in each of us. As a member of the class of '97, I hope you see that public power judiciously used can improve our chances for a fuller life. I hope you share the excitement of living in a time of rapid change, and that you see that your values will determine not only the actions of your life, but even the shape of the information age. I ask you to pledge to yourself not to live only in the private solitude of your personal accomplishments. Do not live your life so your only end is survival or staying ahead of the peaks and valleys of the economic cycle. Instead, experience the fulfillment of giving, even if others around you are taking. Recall the moments in the last 4 years when you took your deepest satisfaction and when you believed you were truest to yourself. Listen to your inner voice and act upon it. whether it requires you next year to open a soup kitchen, or start a business, or work for a TV station, or go to medical school, or become a forest ranger, or run an office, or raise a family. But whatever you do not deny your individuality. That which makes you human and unique, and that which at the deepest level I hope you will honor for a lifetime. Thank you.